Good morning.
My name is Jeffrey Simpson. It's good to be back. I presented once before last year, and so I'm back again today. I'm sorry to say. So you have to sit through the mic's working now. Is it working now? Okay. I'll pick it up. There we go. So, entrepreneurism, a lot of it is about the journey. As with most anything, like in Vacation in the Griswolds, the fun part is watching that journey. And us as entrepreneurs, we're not doing this because it's easy. We're doing this because we have to do it. We're not doing this because we don't make good employees at a corporation, which, by the way, I make a terrible employee. But we do this because we can't not do it. And as we go through our journeys, a lot of times, here at 1 Million Cups and other places, what we see is the end result of all the work that nobody saw us put in. And I like to see that work. I want to see the struggles. I want to see the challenges. I want to see the obstacles that the entrepreneurs have overcome to accomplish what they accomplished, like we're going to hear the next presenter. And when I look at myself, and when I look at other people, I say, what are you good at? And when I look at myself and answer that question, over years of being an entrepreneur and being an employee at other places, what I'm really good at is creating new products. This is what people have paid me to do for years. And so I finally decided to take the next step and do this for myself. Now, unfortunately, this guy ripped me off because way back, maybe about a year ago, I came up with this idea to create 5 products in 5 days, or release 5 products in 5 days. And this guy decided to come out and release 5 videos in 5 days and kind of took some of my thunder away. That's okay. I'll let him have his time in the spotlight. But when I was looking at these products, and like a lot of entrepreneurs, I have a lot of ideas in my head, and they don't go away. But the thing is, the good ones kind of sit there and fester for a while. I sit there and I think about it. And some of these products I've been thinking about for years. So next week, on October 29th, I'm going to be starting my journey. And this journey is a journey of going from nothing and ending up releasing 5 products in 5 days. The 29th serves as an inflection point in my life, at a time where I can start anew and create these 5 products. Now the journey is the fun part, and I'm asking everyone here to join me on that journey. This journey will be unique because the differences in the 5 products allows me to touch on a lot of different aspects of starting products, starting a company, establishing a business, going through the legal process, the LLC incorporation, or maybe a different type of company, looking at different technologies, because a couple of these apps will be web apps, one will be a mobile app, there'll be a wearable device application, and there's actually going to be some manufacturing involved with the products, and so that will involve 3D printing, another prototyping, so that will be, the products encompass a lot of different areas. And so each of these products is different. And it's going to be fun to do each one of them. And some of them are areas that I have experience in. I have been doing some text messaging, and so there's going to be some apps that involve text messaging. There's going to be some brand new stuff that you've never seen before. And it's going to be, like I said, run the gamut of everything. Now this picture of me was taken about 3 o'clock this last Saturday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. At this point in time, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, I had run about 30 miles, and I still had about 3 miles to go. Starting a company and being an entrepreneur is a lot like running an ultramarathon, but it's a lot different too. Running an ultramarathon is easier than starting a company. Why? Because at this point in time, at 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, I knew that I had 3 miles to go. And when I got to that finish line, I was done. I was going to get the medal put around my neck. I was going to sit down in that chair. I was going to pop open a beer or 2 or 3. And I was done. I had accomplished what I had set out to do. Starting a company and launching products is not like this, because at the end of this journey, the 5 products in 5 days when I release it, it's just the starting point of everything else. Now, as you may have picked up already, I actually ran into Paul Wizakowski last night, Hilo Strap and Rexodus with the 8-foot dinosaur. He caught on to this really fast, and his question was, what are you going to do with all this stuff that you create, all the blogs, all the journeys, all the videos, all the interviews that you're going to do over these next few months? Well, this is the 6th product that comes out of the 5 products. It's the launching point. It's how you can help other entrepreneurs and share that journey with them so they can be inspired by what I've already done. Now's the time you say 6 minutes is up.
6 minutes is up, Jeffrey. Excellent. Great timing on that. So now's our time as a community to ask questions about what 5 products, 5 days means, and really help Jeffrey refine his idea even more. So if you have a question, just raise your hand, and I will keep you in mind. So Dustin back here, and then I'll come down front.
Jeffrey, I know you've spoken at 1 Million Cups before. It's been a while. Can you give us a quick background on your background, your experience on some of the other companies you've done, and what makes you qualified to do something like this?
Certainly. So I'm trying to figure out how far back to go, but I think I'd like to start, and I kind of mentioned in the presentation, but entrepreneurism is kind of in my blood. Back in the 1930s here in Tulsa, my great-grandfather moved to Tulsa and started a company here in Tulsa, named it Park and Drilling. And it is still, the company's still going today. They moved down to the Houston area after being in Tulsa for a while. My parents are entrepreneurs. They have their own company. And I started on my entrepreneur journey about 5 years ago when I actually launched my own, my first company. And my first product was Diner Connection. And Diner Connection is an online waitlist management software for restaurants, sends out a text message when your table's ready. Diner Connection is still going strong today. I have it at restaurants across the United States and Canada. Now, through that process, I have learned a lot. I have gotten Diner Connection listed on Mashable.com. I've been in Fast Company. I've been in the Wall Street Journal. I've been in the Journal Record. I've been in the Tulsa World. I've had a lot of media exposure and a lot of success with Diner Connection. And yet there's reasons why I want to start fresh and start with something new. And with my experience in several other areas, I also do some business coaching and I also do some judging of some business plans. And so I see a lot of products and a lot of businesses, and I've learned a lot. And through my learning, I want to share some of that through going through it again and sharing it from scratch.
Question up here in the front.
5 products in 5 days. After the five days, how will you know what will your measurements be, or when you can say you were successful in launch for all 5 products?
So the question is, how will we know we'll be successful? You never know. I mean, it's the goal of this is to create the 5 products and to share the journey of that creation. And so that's the first goal, is the actual launching of the 5 products in 5 days. For me, that's going to be goal number 1, is the actual finishing the products and launching them. From there, of course, one of the other things that I didn't mention, and the reason why I'm holding this thing in my hand, is that all this kind of culminates in the launching of my new company, which is Spike Mesh Software. And so the goal is to launch them. The goal is to, obviously, hopefully all of them succeed, but each of them will be different, and so they'll be succeeding in different ways. They are 3 of them that will be for profit. 3 or 4 of them will be for profit. One of them will be free, and one of them is going to be completely different. It's going to be potentially a Kickstarter campaign, and it's going to be something brand new for me. It's going to be a manufacturing product. And so the success on that may depend on how well that's accepted by the marketplace. obviously, with Diner Connection, my goal, when somebody asked me what the goal of Diner Connection was, it wasn't necessarily that I make lots of money off of it. It was that I wish that every restaurant in the United States and the world would know that Diner Connection is an option, that text messaging, instead of using the buzzer pagers, is available to the restaurants. And so my goal through the 5 products, 5 days is not only to launch the products, but to gain exposure for those products. And so there's a lot of different gauges of success, and I really don't have a good answer for what defines success right now.
Question here in the middle.
So elaborate on the launch, the 6th.
So the goal is to launch 5 unique products in 5 days. And the journey will be blogged. I'll be doing a lot of blogging and video blogs and hopefully interviews and some other things. The 6th product that I mentioned is the what am I looking for? The word I'm looking for is the combining of all this information, all this journey into potentially a book form that would be published or given away that can help other entrepreneurs on their journey.
If you have a question, so what, and it's related to what you just answered. What's the process? How much work have you done? Obviously, you have an idea of what these 5 products will be, so it's not completely starting at day one.
Yeah, that's a great question.
What's going to happen in those 5 days?
Right, and so there has been a little bit of work, but I wanted to maintain kind of the freshness of starting from scratch. And so the little bit of work that's done has been to make sure I'm legally protected in some of these product names that I'm using, the domain names, product names, copyrights, and such. And so I've taken the steps before I start publishing information to make sure that it's all protected. Now, as far as the development-wise, I have not really proceeded down the path a lot because I do want to involve everybody in the process. So the answer is as little as I felt comfortable with.
Question here, right?
Based on what I'm hearing through some responses to questions, are these products ready for consumption? So if one of these products, this gentleman's question, has a ton of demand, do you have the ability to replicate that and sell it and scale it up? Or is this really more of a marketing attempt to promote your new business?
So these products have not been created yet. The goal when we launch, when the 5 days comes to fruition, is that each of these products is a viable product available for purchase or consumption. Each of them, as I mentioned, they're a little different, but different marketing goals with each one of them. So I don't know if that answered your question or not. Is that?
I guess I'm still trying to get my head wrapped around entirely what this process
So
is.
yeah, so the process
You're basically
is.
saying on Monday, I'm gonna, not entirely, but I'm gonna think of and create an idea, and then by next hour that day, it'll be out in the public. And Tuesday, the same thing.
No, okay, so I didn't quite define that. So the process is I have 5 products that I'm going to create that I already have ideas for, that I have planned out and I've been thinking for a while. The process is over the next few months I'm going to be blogging about the creation of each of these 5 products. And the culmination will be 5 days in which I will release each of the product on a different day. So Monday through Friday, and we'll be releasing each of those products. So the journey is the creation of those products, and then finally launching it in 5 days.
Question here in the back.
So it sounds like you said, you're really good at product creation and you're focusing on creating these products in the 5 days. What about work you've done up to now or work you're going to do in the next week or so beforehand or during those 5 days to make sure that these products are viable, that there's a fit with whatever the market is? What are you going to document that process? Is that part of this?
Absolutely. There's a lot of parts that don't get talked about. I have the ideas for the products from customer feedback in a lot of cases. A couple of these products are some products that I've created for other companies, but now they need to be released in a public format so other people can use them. There are some other products that I find helpful just for myself. And so based on my experience and talking to some other people as well, that they'll find these useful. So I have done market research on all 5 of these products to validate them enough for me to proceed forward with them.
Okay, question here all the way in the back.
I'm going to break my own rule, and I have 2 questions. Actually, a comment and a question. The comment is another just great resource for everybody here that Zach Lindsay turned me on to, which is really cool, is a podcast called Startup Podcast, and it's the guy from Planet Money, NPR, is just documenting himself make a startup, and it's really honest and pretty transparent on the ups and the downs, and it's really, really good, very similar to what you did, but another complementary resource. So my question is, so a lot of this process you're going to show, here's what I'm really good at, and my experience, what I've learned. How are you hoping to grow? Maybe what area do you like, I wish I was better at this, and in this process, I'm going to hopefully get better at that. I'm going to try and learn in that.
Absolutely. So there's several aspects. I think the first aspect I will go to is the legal aspect. And I've had some issues with trademarks and copyrights, even as recently as last week, that has kind of opened my eyes to some legal aspects that I need to learn more about. I do have an MBA, don't hold that against me, but I do. But there's a lot of stuff that I didn't learn and didn't know about. So for me, the challenge from the legal aspect is making sure that all my intellectual property is protected and that I can secure that intellectual property. From a technology standpoint, I'm going to be using a lot of new technologies that I haven't used before in products to expand my knowledge of technology, and so I'm exposed to new things. From a business standpoint, I know I've had success with Diner Connection and some other products, but the question is, can I replicate that success? Can I get the same media exposure that I did before? And what are the processes that I use to accomplish that? And hopefully it'll be things that other people can replicate. But for me, I'm challenging myself in each of those areas, the legal, the technology, and the business aspect.
Question in the back right? Yep.
I'm going to break Justin's rule and ask 2 questions too, and maybe my second and third questions. Who else is involved in this?
Nobody,
Just you.
just me.
Okay, that's exciting. And then, why 5 days? Why not 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years, 50 years?
I have no idea. Because it was the inspiration that popped into my head, and like a lot of other things, it just stuck. This is one of those things, 5 products, 5 days, and it's what it is.
So does that create its own challenge because it's so short you have to get these things done?
Well, it's not the journey that, I don't know how long it'll take to create these 5 products. So I have some ideas in my head that maybe it'll take about a month per product or maybe 2 months, but so I'm hoping anywhere from 6 months to a year is when I actually launch the 5 products. And so that does mean that I'll have some products finished before I launch them, but so we'll see how the process works.
So just a point of clarification, you are not developing and releasing these
Not
products
in
in 5 days.
I'm going to be developing over the next few months.
And then
then
you'll
launch
decide
them.
the 5 days during which you will actually launch them to the public.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
good for all of us. No question here.
Will these 5 products be related to each other? Like, do they constitute a suite of tools, or are they?
No, they actually are very distinct products in and of themselves. And 2 of them will be web applications. One of them will be a mobile application. One of them will be a wearable technology application. And one of them will be a manufactured product. And so the benefit of having unique products is that I'm going to, through this journey, have exposure to a lot of different areas, a lot of different technologies, a lot of different legal aspects. So I can share all those aspects in the journey, as opposed to, say, a typical software startup where the process is you write the application and you market it and you sell it. So they're unique products. Most of them will be under the SpikeMate software umbrella.
Question here in the front.
So this is sort of dovetailing on Barry's question. So 5 products, 5 days. If the focus is 5 products, 5 days, great. I mean, I understand that. If it's to get 5 products out into the market in a relatively combined or compressed timeline, would it make, or let me ask it a different way, are you delaying that first product launch so that the 5th product launch can be 4 days later? And if so, what do you think are the benefits or the detriments of doing that?
I would probably say that the 5 products in 5 days is potentially somewhat gimmicky to gain exposure, and so I'll say that it's potentially gimmicky, that the whole idea of launching 1 product per day why didn't Weird Al just release all 5 of his videos at once? You know, it's because it partially is a gimmick, and partially it's because I want to challenge myself, and it just sounded cool, and I'm going to do it.
Creates a story, we'll say.
That's right, it's a story.
So what's the format both during the 5 days and the afterwards, and as far as participation from any of us? What are you
Right.
offering or saying will happen?
See, I was going to wait for them to say, "Well, how can we help out as a community?" But that does it too. So, what I'm asking is that the community join me on this journey, and that's you guys. And the way this will work in the beginning is that I'll be posting blogs and asking people to join me on that journey. And how you can join me on that journey, is by joining the email list. And right now, this is actually going to launch on the 29th, like I mentioned, but you can sign up on the email list. You can text your email right now, pull out your phones, and text your email to that number right there, and that will sign you up on my email list. Or you can go to 5products5days.com and sign up for the email list there.
Question here in the back.
Hi, you mentioned IP. Do you have experience in protecting IP? Who are you working with? What does that process look like for you in the past, and how do you think that IP pathway will look like in the future?
All right. I have 2 IP stories to tell, and I don't know how much time do I have, Baron? 2 minutes. Okay, so 1 minute. Okay, I'll tell my trademark story. So my previous company, the one I still have, Moxie Software. I have the domain moxiesoftware.com. I'm not able to get the trademark. And another company in California named Ingenera decided they wanted the name Moxie Software as well. So they got the domain moxiesoft.com, but they're unable to get the trademark either because another UK company has the hold on the trademark Moxie Software. So neither one of us can trademark the name Moxie Software. So now I have no legal basis to force them to stop using the name Moxie Software, and they don't have a legal basis either. So now I have a company named Moxie Software that I can't get a trademark to, but I have a domain. That was potentially a mistake. My other quick copyright story is that the Moxie Software logo that I created initially, that I started using and is actually still in use, I created it by hand, came up with my own idea. Last week I found out that another company named Moxie PR, Moxie Communication Group, actually stole my logo and was using my logo as their logo for the past 3 years. And so I went and researched it and had some attorneys look into it and say, no, they can't use that logo legally. And so I have a copyright on that logo, and I did ask them nicely in an email to stop using the logo. And that was the easiest way. They actually said, we're sorry, we had an employee say this was their own work and not original or not stolen. And so by to exposure with the trademark and copyright, I am working with attorneys right now on intellectual property going forward with the copyright and trademark and patent process with some of the products.
Okay, and then last question, what can the community do to help you?
Right, I answered this already once, but I'll answer it again, is that follow along with me in my journey by texting your email to this right here, or going to the website 5 Products 5 Days and signing up for the email list.
Okay.
Oh, and the Twitter is 5 Products 5 Days. So we launch on the 29th, I launch on the 29th, and so you won't see anything till then.
All right, let's give it up for Jeff. It's very scary bass. Everyone has to pay attention. All right. Time for some announcements. All right, time to give away another mug. So, what I like is everybody put your hand over your name tag if you put a name tag on. Everyone got it? Okay, if anyone can tell me who is the sponsor of the name tags without looking at their name tag?
Arcadia.
Arcadia, all right. All right, enjoy your 1 million cups mug. You too can win a 1 million cups mug. That brings us to our name tags. Thanks again to Arcadia Printing for printing our name tags for us. If you'd like, we have a sign-up sheet in the back if you would like a permanent name tag. If we get enough people who are interested in that, we'll get some made. But in the meantime, we have our lovely
paper. The what?
Those aren't free.
Oh yeah. The permanent ones will not be free. They'll be some amount of money. Tomorrow, The Mind is hosting an emerging innovation lunch and session. It's going to be really cool. It's at the Forge, 11:45. You can get on the Mind's website if you want to learn more about that. Dave the Man Berlin, Reps for Vets, is November 8th at Veterans Park, 9 to 11 o'clock. Definitely check it out. $25, $10 if you are a vet. If you would like to learn about this or any of our other announcements, sign up for our lovely newsletter put together every week by Mr. Baron Ryan. Lovingly handcrafted, bespoke newsletter. So send us an email, Tulsa at 1millioncups.com, or if you have an announcement, send us an email and we'll put it in here as well. Next week is a very special week for us. It's our 1-year birthday for 1 Million Cups. We're very excited about it. So we're having a party. Woo. It's going to be really awesome. It's going to be another one of our special events. We're going to have more about arts and entrepreneurship. We're going to have a ton of really cool companies. We're actually going to have a custom piece of art done for 1 Million Cups. So I'm very excited about that. There's going to be a ton of people here. Invite your friends. Share it on social media. We're going to start kind of blasting out on the social media stuff. So tell everybody, come next week. We'll have maybe a special snack. Although we have chocolate chip cookies this week, so check it out. All right, next up, our next company is Urban Essentials. They're out of Oklahoma City. They just launched, is today the 22nd? So 13 days ago. So they are brand new, really cool. They're going to share a little bit about what their experience has been. They're on-demand grocery delivery in Oklahoma City, hopefully coming to Tulsa soon. So give it up for Andre and for Urban Essentials.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Andre. I'm with Urban Essentials Co. We just recently launched, so it's been exciting seeing how it's been going so far. If I had to describe the company in one sentence, it would be basically what we do is use technology to bring the grocery buying experience into the 21st century. Technology's been making our lives easier in so many different ways. You used to have to write a check, send it in the mail to pay your bills. Now you can just pay them online. You used to have to get in your car, go to the store to go shopping for anything. Now you can shop for just about everything online. If you wanted to watch a new movie, you used to have to drive to Blockbuster, and now you've got Netflix. People like instant gratification. And there have been a few companies come along that's kind of halfway done the job. You went from Blockbuster to Redbox. Well, it was a little bit easier than going to Blockbuster because you didn't have to drive quite as far. They were more common. You could find one at McDonald's pretty frequently. So people liked that at first until they realized that there was an easier way where they didn't have to get in a car or drive anywhere at all. And that's kind of where we come in. That kind of gives the first insight into our inspiration. Reason one that we exist is because I don't like grocery shopping at all. And that's a sentiment that I've heard mirrored by countless hundreds of people over the years. Everyone when they have to go to Walmart or a supermarket, they say, I really don't want to have to go stand in these lines. I really don't want to do this. And then, too, see a legitimate need in the market for this. I think grocery shopping is the final frontier of e-commerce. We've got convenient methods of getting just about everything else except for groceries. Well, on the East and West Coast, there are several companies that have decided to do something about this. Started off in the bigger cities, Instacart for one. They're all over the West Coast, growing very fast. Raised something like $50 million in venture capital recently because people really want to get their groceries in a hurry. So that's where we come in. We've been fortunate enough to receive quite a bit of media coverage prior to launching, and it was one of the things that helped validate the idea even more. We did a really good job of kind of getting the word out early, because we knew not only was it a new business, but it's kind of a new industry for the area. So we didn't just want to launch and say, hey, surprise, come use our product, because not many people would know about it. So we started drumming up interest really early on, Facebook ads, word of mouth marketing, get it out just about every way we could. Well, that paid off because there was a reporter with KOCO Channel 5 who saw us on Facebook and requested to do an interview. So we got a TV appearance there. And after that, it just kind of all started coming together. So soon after that, we got on Fox 25. We've been featured in Red Dead Report newspaper, KFOR Channel 4. So we had a lot of people who knew who we are before we even launched. And that's something I'm really thankful for. People showed a lot of excitement for it, which made us feel good about what we were doing. So the day came that we launched, and we've been received pretty well. We've stayed steady. We've had days where we've done more than we expected to, but we've never had any days where it's just been disappointing. The reception that we've had, we've learned a lot because we thought our target customer would be at a certain income, or it would be restricted to certain people. But the very second delivery we did was actually in a trailer park, and we delivered to some of the most expensive neighborhoods as well. So we really managed to hit a sweet spot with the products that we have and the price point that we have. So we've got customers from all over, and it's amazing. Now, a little bit about the way it works is you go on our website, urbanessentialsco.com, you can see the shop icon, drops down, and groceries are categorized just like aisles in a grocery store. So you add the items to the cart, $30 minimum, check out any major credit card or PayPal. Once your order is placed, the driver receives it, and basically right now it's me, the founder, a couple other guys that are employees. Whoever is assigned to that territory takes the order. They pick it up at the nearest supermarket. So right now we've got thousands of items that are name brand items. The most popular things that people buy, so that we can really have a lot of options in where we source them from. This allows us to get them to you as fast as possible. So we get most orders there in less than an hour. It's worked out pretty well because certain zip codes will be assigned to a certain person for the day, and we've managed to get the logistics down pretty well. So $2.99 3-hour delivery, or same-day delivery for free. The profit comes from the markup on the item. You pay a little bit more than you would in the grocery store. But people who are using us to replace their entire grocery shopping are placing orders $200-$300. So it's worked out really well.
Okay, so now's a good time for us to have some questions. If you have a question, oh my goodness, we have several. Okay, so here on the right first.
So how much is it a percentage that you add on per item, or is it depending on the item?
It depends on the item. So on bigger items, the markup isn't quite as large because, you get a $20 bag of dog food and you mark that up a certain percentage, it's going to add a lot more to it than, say, marking up a $1 toothbrush or something like that. So we vary it, try to just keep it reasonable on everything.
What's next?
Some things are around 18% or so. We try to use that guideline.
Okay, question here.
So you talked a little bit about your target customers and how they're kind of all over the place. Who were your target market initially? How has that changed now? What do the metrics look like on that? What is the population that you're serving now?
The original two types of customers that we were going after, and it's held up pretty well. Need-based and want-based. So young professionals, busy people who don't have quite as much time. We wanted to really give them some of that time back, let them spend their time doing the things that they enjoy doing when they're not at work. Because, even if it's only a couple hours, that's time that they can spend with their family or something. Then there's also the people who have, handicaps and stuff like that, who have legitimate trouble getting out and going shopping. And it's really cool being able to help them, because not only are we able to create a service where we're giving people some more of their own time back, but we can also fulfill our social responsibilities and help them in the community, which is really cool.
Okay, question back here in the left.
A lot of questions today. Have you thought about doing anything, on the creative side as far as you purchasing the groceries, like using a credit card that gives you cash back for it, or you're going to have such a high volume of spending there? Is there a way you could start, or working? Is it worth doing coupons and things like that? Are there ways that you can rather than just raising the cost that you charge your customer, that you can lower the cost or benefit there? Have you thought about any of that?
Right now, we don't really have anything like that in place. We don't do coupons because as it is right now, if you're doing 2-3 orders at once, the challenge of keeping them separate in the cart and trying to figure out how to do that, it's a lot more challenging than you would originally thought. So when you throw in, coupons in the mix in the checkout process, it makes it harder for us to hit our time goal. But as far as reward programs and stuff like that, that's something that we are interested in implementing in the future.
Do you have any other slides? I think Dustin mentioned beforehand that you have a slide showing us what it looks like on the site.
Yes, I believe we do.
Can you talk us through that a little bit? Can you talk us through really quick?
Yeah, so when you go to the site, up at the top there's a bar. When it says shop, it actually drops down and it has all the different categories like dairy, breads, pastas and grains, stuff like that. You click on it, and then it gives you something that looks like this. In the top right, there's going to be a tags button, so you can filter and search a little more specifically. So within bread, you can hit the tags, and you're going to see tortillas or wheat or rolls, for instance. So it really gives you a lot more control over the products that you're seeing. It makes it intuitive, so you can say dairy on yogurt.
Question here in the front.
Keeping with the trend and asking 2 questions. They're both inventory related. One, how are you determining what you're listing as your inventory on the site because you are getting it from other locations? And then tied to that, second question is, and I know it's still early days, but eventually if this scales, when is it worth it to keep your own inventory basically, buying instead of wholesale, and we can deliver faster and cheaper?
As far as inventory goes, right now, we're making a purposeful choice to only carry things that we can get from a wide variety of places. That way we're never going to have trouble. Even then, from one supermarket to the next, for instance at Walmart, the layout can be completely different. One can carry products that others don't. So that's kind of a logistical problem that we're working with. But then as far as keeping inventory, I don't think we'll ever get to that point because Amazon has a delivery service called Amazon Fresh that they're rolling out. And that's actually one of their weaknesses. The startup Instacart, they're kind of outperforming Amazon in this because they're able to get your groceries to you so much faster since they basically act as a platform like we do, which connects shoppers and buyers. So that cuts out the need of having to deal with the warehouses, loading up, figure out delivery times. An hour or 2 hours tops.
Okay, question here, right?
See if I can articulate this in a good way. So, if you were, as you scale up, you're doing higher volumes and the website's drawing more traffic, are you concerned that any of these manufacturers are going to get wind of what you're doing and require some type of percentage of your up margin? Or in kind of a linear question to that, are any of these products restricted for resale? Which I know the grocery clerk's not going to stop you, but are there concern from a growth standpoint that you're going to become too big and have to start sharing your profit with the actual manufacturers?
I don't believe so, because essentially we're not a grocery reseller. We're more of a platform that connects the shopper and the buyer. So that kind of eliminates that. And any of the grocery stores that we're working with wouldn't necessarily be competitors, because at the end of the day, we're still buying the products at the prices they're selling, and they're making the profit that they intended to. So if anything, it's in their benefit that we're buying their groceries.
Question here in the Senate.
So expand on that, when you said grocery stores we're working with, it sounds like you're pretty transparent to them in terms of you going in and shopping, you have no contact. And I guess the question would be, do you see an opportunity to do something with them? And then secondly, how you've chosen a pricing strategy. I'm interested in how you sort of got to this because it seems potentially very cumbersome versus just a flat or percentage rate. And as a consumer, I'm probably more concerned when I see an 18% markup on peanut butter than I am on a 6% markup on my grocery bill or charge.
Originally, we thought about having a flat rate markup for everything. What we realized was that it didn't work due to the things that were more expensive to begin with being marked up, a huge amount compared to the cheaper things. So we've kind of gone in and hand selected the prices for each individual item, which is a very cumbersome thing to get off the ground. That's what we spent several weeks leading up until launch deciding on. But we've had a lot of great feedback from our customers who have told us that the prices are very reasonable, and that's something that we've seen in the sales, when we're delivering to lower income areas and trailer parks, for instance. We were actually very surprised because we thought, people on the lower end of the spectrum might see these prices and, be kind of put off by them. But we've had some that have already placed 4 or 5 orders with us. So the pricing point really seems to have been something that we've done well on here.
Question in the back.
As far as partnerships with grocery stores, we are open to doing something like that. However, if we were to work with someone, negotiate maybe a discounted price in exchange for only delivering their items, exclusivity. We just don't want to limit any growth opportunities with that, because say Homeland, they said, we want you to exclusively use our products, we'll give you X amount discount. Well, we would have to be careful in the way that we structure that, because Homelands aren't everywhere, and we intend to grow and expand pretty wide, so we wouldn't want to be in a situation where we're in an area where Homeland's pretty far, but it's not convenient to drive there to get the items.
Okay, question in the back.
Technically 2 questions, still along the lines of this pricing question. I do quite a bit of shopping, and I know from store to store, prices can vary significantly from whether you're shopping at the nearest Target, the nearest Walmart, the nearest, for here, Reesers. So how are you, you're having a flat rate, so are you just eating the cost on the differences in pricing whenever you're going to those local stores? And then my second question is, how are you getting the word out about this? How are you marketing it?
As far as the first question goes, the profit margin that we've got built into the items kind of gives us a little bit of flexibility. So if we shop at one store and an item's $3.50, but then we get the same order for someone else and the item's $3.30 somewhere else, that 20-cent difference on that item isn't going to make enough to where it really damages our bottom line on that order. It kind of gives us a little bit of leeway there, which is nice. As far as marketing, we're really doing a lot of Facebook ads, Google ads, and then we're still reaching out to as many media publications as possible. So we've got an interview with the local Hispanic newspaper coming up soon, and we're talking to News 9. We might get an appearance on there soon. And then referrals are actually a huge source for us because everyone who's using us has left great feedback, whether it be in the form of reviews on our Facebook page, emailing us, asking for cards in their next order so that they can pass them out to their coworkers and friends. Word of mouth is huge for us right now.
Okay, question in the front.
Have you considered Oklahoma snow days?
Oklahoma what?
Snow days, when everyone crowds into the grocery store.
Yes, we've actually got some strategies in place for that because we've got some all-wheel drive vehicles. We're going to double team those. Have someone be in the store retrieving the items, and then with 2 people there at once, we can actually be shopping for several orders at the same time, increase our volume on that, without having to have as many vehicles on the road. Only thing we're going to do differently there is eliminate our 3-hour window on days where there's ice and hazards on the road. But other than that, we're expecting that to be pretty good money makers for us.
Do we have a question on the right here?
So firstly, I just want to say I think it's a really, really cool idea that you're doing. But the thing that comes to my mind is, again, it just comes back to the pricing because it seems to me like I would use something like this, but I'm less concerned about the groceries getting there like super fast than I am about like that it gets delivered, I don't have to go out, and that I can plan. So like, for instance, like if it's not a craving or anything, like, oh, I want White Castle hamburgers right now, like I need them now. But for me, I would rather have lower prices and just be able to say, okay, I'm going to put an order in, and you'll deliver it tomorrow between 3 and 4 or whatever, and I can be home and deliver the groceries. And because the markups for individual prices and all that stuff, like the margins that you have to make to go that fast, it just seems like high from here. And so I just wonder if you could lower cost if you didn't have to go so fast to make it happen.
See, even with a lower time frame, we still have to factor in, the employee pay, the gas to get there, and stuff like that. So we're trying to keep the prices at a level where they're reasonable enough to where the everyday person can use them. You don't have to be rich to have Netflix and have movies on demand. We don't feel like you should have to be wealthy to get your groceries on demand. So that's an ongoing thing for us. We're evaluating what people say, the emails, feedback that we're getting, and we'll continually monitor that to find the sweet spot, what's best for us and the consumer. But as far as having groceries delivered at a later time, we've actually already had several people place orders, and we've got an order notes thing at the checkout. It says that you can specify any additional information, such as if you're not going to be home till a certain time, or next day delivery, stuff like that.
Question here in the front.
Tied into that, how are you scheduling delivery time? Have you had any stumbling blocks, or has everything gone smoothly with all deliveries? Or how are you coordinating that because you've got this produce and stuff that needs to be kept fresh when it gets to them?
Well, with the way our service works, it's speedy enough to where typically the groceries never stay in the car longer than they would if you were going to grocery shopping for yourself. So with the cold items, we're able to, negate that worry about getting them there that fast. However, for people who request it to be delivered in the evening or something like that, we're using the hot cold bags that they have at the plant to lock in the temperature. That's worked out pretty well for us. And as far as scheduling deliveries, almost every major apartment, downtown and midtown OKC, we've got deals in place with. A lot of them have freezers, and they say, hey, we want our residents to have the service. Go ahead and deliver it to us if they're not home. With people who live in homes, we typically call when we're picking up the order and fulfilling it and say, hey, about to bring your order by, just making sure you're home. Because almost everyone leaves contact information. We urge them to do that. And so far, we haven't had any snags that we've hit yet, but I'm sure that it will be something we'll have to figure out.
Okay, question here on your right.
Thanks, Barry. I have a cash flow question. So you're receiving payments via credit card and PayPal. You also don't receive that money instantaneously, but you're having to make your cash outflow instantaneously. So how are you funding your initial growth, and what's your expectation for what you're going to need moving forward as your volume increases?
We actually had a private investor who funded us initially, so we got a cash reserve, which we're shopping from, and then a line of credit. So it gives us a little bit of a cushion. We don't have to sell super high volume right away. So we're not letting that make us lazy by any means. We're still trying to ramp it up as fast as possible. But right now we're really focusing on delivering the best possible customer service, because that's going to win us more business in the long run. So we're good on being able to purchase the stuff.
Okay, so I have a question. You talked about wanting to scale this outside of the Oklahoma City area. Well, I presume that you didn't talk about the area specifically, but what's your projection of at what point you think that will happen, and how far you're trying to go, and then what obstacles you'll have to overcome as you extend?
That's a really good question. So we've got some pretty grand ambitions. We'd like to provide this service to the entire Midwest, which is an area where we look to buy a lot of tech-oriented companies. So what we really have to do is build a custom backend, because we're leveraging existing e-commerce platforms right now. What we have is what I'd consider our minimum viable product. It lets us get the service up, get it going, and provide an excellent experience for the customers. But to scale, when we attain a certain level of capital and we're able to bring in programmers and developers to build our custom backend and our custom app, it's going to be a lot easier, because it's going to be a lot less employee intensive when it comes to deliveries, when it comes to price checking on items, which continually change. On the customer side of it, it's going to stay the same, because they're going to continue to get the same great experience really fast. But on the back end, we're going to increase automation a lot. We intend to have something similar to Uber and Lyft, to where, and this is what Instacart does, to where you can take an app and if you want to make a couple bucks in your spare time, you can sign up to do the orders, and when an order pops up, you've got 70 seconds to claim it, and you can go do that. And that's going to make it a lot easier for us to go into a new territory and immediately have a presence in there.
Okay, question here in the back.
Regarding sales tax, I assume you have to pay the sales tax at the grocery store. So then are you charging the customer sales tax again? Is the city and state getting double sales tax? And are you doing anything with, when you go into Edmond, Oklahoma City, are you adjusting that for the different cities you're delivering into?
Yes, the platform that we have automatically calculates sales tax based on the, for instance, the difference between Edmond and Oklahoma City. Now, we pay the sales tax when we check out on the products, and then it's going to be charged on the site to offset that. So ultimately, the customer ends up paying the sales tax so that he doesn't eat up a profit margin.
We have time for one or two more questions. Yes, question here in the back.
So you mentioned Amazon, what is it?
Amazon Fresh.
So you kind of talked about some other competitors. I just want to know, what is your sweet sauce? What's the special sauce that makes you better than these other competitors? Why should I bring my business to you? And then a secondary question, the social entrepreneurship part of me wants to know, do you have any plans to use this model in conjunction with like combating food deserts, or do you have some sort of model for that as well?
As far as the competition goes, if someone new comes to the area, we're not super concerned about that because we feel that what we have is a really strong product. We've already got some really loyal customers who really love us. So there might be, other fish in the sea, but there's also a lot of fishing, and that's how we look at it. If you can have Walmart and Target across the street from each other and both have their own customer base, then as long as you're providing a good service and you're not messing up to where someone wants to look elsewhere for what you're providing, then you're going to be able to maintain loyal customers. Now, as for using the service for the other stuff, we're looking into some things right now, but nothing concrete at this time.
Okay, we have time for just the last question, which is what can we, the community, do to help you in Urban Essentials?
Really, obviously awareness is one, which is our biggest challenge right now. But then feedback has been our biggest tool. For instance, we have a feedback form on our site. If someone requests a product that we don't have, we get it up same day. Feedback on the website, service, anything like that, because that will allow us to really shape the service and shape the site to be what people want it to be, and that's going to allow us to continue improving.
Okay, well, let's thank Urban Essentials and Andre for community. That concludes our meeting for this week. Remember that next week we're having a birthday bash. There'll be some surprises. I can neither confirm nor deny the presence of any news outlets here, so that's going to be exciting. Invite your friends, and please have a cookie in the back. I baked them. I really did bake them, and they're pretty good. So help yourself, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Barry.